She's and a celebrity. She is an actress, writer, film producer. She's won Best Actress awards. Lady Fatima's experiences have actually shaped her philanthropic work, and she's involved in many charities. Lady Fatima launched the Hands Off Our Girls campaign in 2018 to protect girls from rape and early marriage. This led to the President declaring a national emergency on rape and sexual violence. We actually need that here as well. She also works closely with other African First Ladies, and they have formed an organisation called Organisation of African First Ladies. They could collectively focus on gender issues. Lady Fatima has started many initiatives, such as providing food and free education initiatives for girls in school. But what I found the most interesting, and I was speaking to it about earlier, is her initiative for fighting period poverty. She launched the Free Sanitary Pads initiative for schoolgirls in Sierra Leone. But she managed to persuade Islamic scholars, including Mufti Menk, to hold up the sanitary packs and join the initiative to try and persuade Islamic scholars. I mean, I've tried and don't even like to say the word period, and I saw images of them holding these packs. So you must be a formidable force in persuasion. So please welcome the formidable Lady Fatima.
Thank you. Good morning. Our distinguished host, Baroness 𝐡𝐢𝐫𝐬𝐭, honourable members of the UK Parliament here present, members of the Sierra Leone High Commission to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, fellow speakers, distinguished guests, please permit me to stand on existing protocol as we proceed with my speech. I greet you all warmly as I'm coming from a bright, sunny Freetown, Sierra Leone. I want to start by thanking the CEO of the World Humanitarian Forum, my dear friend and sister, 𝐅𝐢𝐫𝐬𝐭, and the team for considering me to be part of this event, which provides a platform to lend support to serving humanity. I was excited for the invite and became very fascinated by the theme you have chosen for this event, addressing global crisis, the role of humanitarian diplomacy in fragmented area. You can all agree with me that we are living in a world today that is very volatile and with enormous uncertainty. This has compounded sustainable development and peace due to the complex and ambiguous nature of crisis we are faced with. The havoc of global pandemic and the escalation of wars igniting the geopolitical tension continue to be a concern the world is struggling to come to terms with. There can be no better time for the relevance and application of humanitarian diplomacy across the world than now. Dangerous as the situation are or might be, it is only humanitarian diplomacy which has the requisite tools and the strategy that will create a conducive environment to ensure delivery of humanitarian aids effectively, as well as the upholding of human rights. This is usually done by drawing upon and leveraging diplomatic means to provide relief and achieve humanitarian goals during crisis. Some of the fundamental elements employed to achieve this include, but not limited to, bearing influence on conflicting parties, which involves the engagement of state and non-state actors to ensure civilians are protected and receive relief and humanitarian assistance during such difficult moment. A very common and worrying during crisis is the blockage of access to vulnerable population, especially women, girls, and children, which necessitate the need for negotiating access through humanitarian diplomacy so that relief assistance and possible evacuation are made. I was just listening to the Honorable Minister talk about negotiating aid. I don't think aid should be negotiated. We should also look at the fundamental to the intervention in conflict and crisis situations, also in the gross violation of international humanitarian law. This is where humanitarian diplomacy comes to the forefront of campaigning and advocating for the respect and observance of humanitarian law, the human right, and the protection of the vulnerable population. In addition, at the center of humanitarian diplomacy is the relationship and connection between and among the diverse actors at government, development partners, civil society, and others that work in partnership to deliver on humanitarian interventions. Lastly, considering the various bottleneck challenges and hindrance marks under political and bureaucracy, which often gets the way of humanitarian efforts, therefore, due to consideration should be given to addressing political and bureaucratic challenges. My above suggestions might be prescriptive, but they are very essential in guiding our diplomatic humanitarian intervention. We need to really make sure that humanitarian diplomacy works. If there is a breakdown and failure, the outcome would always be horrific. Need I attempt to list what has engulfed us in recent time? The monumental catastrophe facing the world is sufficient justification for humanitarian diplomacy to be taken seriously and ensure it remain active and fruitful. Let me register my thanks and appreciation to the World Humanitarian Forum for keeping alive the spirit of humanitarian diplomacy through such event. I want to loudly add my voice to the call for action you are making to ensure the core values and priorities of humanitarian diplomacy are translated into concrete actions to address the challenges of our time. I want to graciously thank our host, Baroness 𝐡𝐢𝐠𝐡, OBE, for providing such opportunities in the prestigious and iconic House of Parliament to amplify our voice on critical matters that are affecting humanity. As I close, I would also like to say there are too many good people in the world who have stayed too silent into what is happening in the world. And the more we good people remain silent, the more evil people believe that they own the world. So we use our voice for the right purposes. We are not taking sides. We are talking about humanity here. When we talk about the situation that is happening in Gaza, we are not talking about religion. I speak as a Muslim woman, but I also feel the plight of the women in Gaza. I feel the plight of the women and children in Ukraine. I feel the plight of the women and children in Sudan, in Syria, in all of these places where I believe if we consider peace, peace is cheaper, less expensive, and violence and killing is more expensive, and it is costing our world. And when we talk about global warming, we're talking about the security of our world. We should also consider peace, because without peace, there is nothing else that matters. We have to use our voices. And when we use our voices as humanitarian, we use it with sincerity and know that the day you die, you are only going to be judged with what you did here. You will face your own maker. My own as Allah, and I know that when I face my Allah, let him judge me for what I say and what I did. And I don't think I am in a position to hold on to my voice when we see crime against humanity being committed and no one is saying anything. The British Parliament have the power to make a difference. And we all around the world look up to England to be one of the countries that make a difference. And I hope they will make the difference at the right time when we need them. Thank you.
Difficult to say anything, but thank you so much for everything that you said. I just wanted to thank the Royal Community Forum just for the opportunity to recognize that role in the beginning of my intervention. I want to also my colleagues from the 𝐡𝐤𝐭. Thank you so much.